Welcome, welcome, welcome. This is Black Westchester Presents the People Before Politics radio show, episode 263. We are on every Sunday, 6 to 8. We're not in the mix right now. We're doing this COVID live Facebook thing through Zoom. And I thank all of y'all for tuning in and rocking out with us. We got a good show today. For the first hour, we have Sonia Pruitt, who is the president of the National Association, National Black Police Association. Excuse me, there's too many national, everything. There's so many national everything. This is the point when we was in the studio, I would hit the applause button and you would hear it right now. So imaginary applause going on right now. Of course, I got Black by Popular Demand, my partner, and all this. Damon K. Jones is live in the building. We have the lovely Latina Lorraine Lopez, our co-host right now, and we have a couple other people. So we've been dealing with some of the stuff going on and this George Floyd stuff and everything in the first hour. The second hour, for all of y'all who were tuned in expecting to see Michelle MCC, the candidate running against AOC, she will now be on at 7 o'clock. So tune in and continue to hold out and rock. This is going to be a very important conversation we have. But she will be on at 7 o'clock, from 7 to 8.
Michelle Caruso Cabrera.
There you go. Thank you very much. MCC.
Cuban Italian.
Okay. What'd you say, Lorraine?
I said Cuban Italian.
All right, all that. So MCC, who is challenging AOC, will be on at 7 p.m. I wanted to start this off. Let me pull it up again real quick. And I thought this was very important because we posted this 4 years ago, actually. It's crazy. Is Michelle Alexander, the author of what was her book, Damon? You always
The New Jim Crow.
The New Jim Crow. Yes. She made a statement that was actually 4 years ago and was in response to the killing of Philando Castile, which happened 18 miles from Minneapolis, ironically, in Falcon Heights. And what she wrote at the time, she says, and I will read it, I have struggled to find words to express what I thought and felt as I watched the videos of Alton Sterling and Philando Castile. Now insert George Floyd instead of their names, being killed by the police. Last night I wanted to say something that hasn't been said 100 times before. It finally dawned on me there is nothing to say that hasn't been said before. As I was preparing to write about the oldness of all of this and share some wisdom passed down from struggles of earlier eras, I heard on the news that 11 officers have been shot in Dallas. This is 4 years ago. Several killed in sniper fires. My finger froze on the keys. I could not bring myself to recycle old truths. Something more is required, but what? I think we all know deep down there is something more is required of us now. The truth is difficult to face because it's inconvenient and deeply unsettling. And yet, silence isn't an option. On any given day, there's always something I'd rather be doing than facing the ugly, racist underbelly of America. I know I am not alone, but I also know that the families of the slain officers, the families of all those who have been killed by police, would rather not be attending funerals. I'm sure that many who refuse to ride segregated buses in Montgomery after Rosa Parks stood her ground, wish they could have taken the bus rather than walk miles in protest, day after day for a whole year. But they knew they had to walk. If change is ever going to come, they were going to have to walk, and so do we. What it means to walk today will be different for different people and different groups and in different places. I'm asking myself tonight what I need to do in the months and years to come to walk my walk with greater courage. It's a question that requires some time and reflection. I hope is a question we are all asking ourselves. In recent years, I've come to believe that truly transformative change depends more on thoughtful creation of new ways of being than reflecting reactions of the old. What is happening is now is very, very old. We have some habits of responding to this familiar pain and trauma that are not serving us well. And in many respects, it is amazing that we endure it all. I'm inspired again and again by so many of the beautiful, brilliant, and darling activists that is unfolding all over the country. Yet, I also know there is more, that more is required than purely reactive protests and politics. A profound shift in our collective consciousness must occur, a shift that makes possible a new America. It goes on, and I'll put the link in the comment section on Facebook so y'all can all read it. But I just wanted to start off with that and let y'all, because that basically it was written 4 years ago about something that happened 18 miles away, and we're here again. And these words, I could not have said them any better. I could have written something, but I could not have been more profound than what she said. So I wanted to start off with that. Damon, you want to chime in or anything first? I sent it to you all so you can read it. So
I mean, she's absolutely right. Like, you know, I'm tired of repeating myself, man. It's almost like, you know, we've been here before. We know what needs to be done, but we want to placate and advocate in emotions, and then we have those that are using this for their own advancement, personal advancement, which I call protest profiteers. And at the end of the day, nobody's talking about the real issues that need to be done. Right? I'm not feeling I'm not feeling politicians that want to get out and march, but don't go into City Hall and change laws, legislation, and policies in dealing with their police department. You know, it's nice that Mayor Mike Spano marched, but his police department was under consent decree by the Department of Justice for violating violating Black and brown people's civil rights.
Yes, and I want to speak on that too. Yes.
And just 10 years ago, they just started wearing name tags.
Yeah.
Because of the work that Karen Edmondson did in the NAACP.
My sister, yes, she did. Yes.
You know, you have Cuomo up here talking all that crazy talk, but when he was Attorney General, they sent back the police complaints that Karen Edmondson from the NAACP sent him as Attorney General to investigate Yonkers Police Department. So she had to go to the Department of Justice. I was in the meeting with Reverend Richardson and Al Sharpton when now Governor Cuomo was Attorney General, trying to get him to investigate the killing of Detective Ridley. It didn't happen. So you know, y'all politicians can really miss me with that bullshit, because you have to start legislating oversight of your police officers. You have to start having the actual policies, especially use of force policies, when dealing with your police officers. You have to start firing some of these motherfuckers straight up, because we all know some of them don't need to be on the job. And that's the only way you're going to change the culture, if we start firing them. We're rioting because the mayor and the chief did the right thing, but the DA's office was slow to react. That's how this set up, other than people that coming from the outside. But they actually did the right thing within 24 hours. That's unheard of.
Exactly. Yes.
That's unheard of in a police department to fire someone within 24 hours.
Yes.
Usually they got excuses.
You can't deny the facts.
Exactly.
You can't deny the facts.
Usually they have excuses. Oh, we gotta, due process. We gotta do this. Usually we hear the usual excuses. Well, it's in their contract, all that. No, they fired them. They fired them. And now, and not one of these profiteers from this protesting commended the chief and the mayor on that. Not one. But see, we're sitting here in our states with our police departments that are just as bad as the police department in or worse. So the governor right now, why don't the governor do executive order? Why don't all these Democratic governors in the United States, all the Democratic governors, we probably won't get the Republicans, but the Democratic governors do executive orders. If you intentionally or unintentionally violate your policy, procedures, and training that causes seriously injury or death, it's a crime. It's not hard. Sign it and put it out there. That's when you can tell me that you're really doing something as an elected official.
That you're listening.
Exactly. Instead of patting Negroes on the back and sending pastors and preachers out there to try to quiet them down, legislate. Because nothing's changed.
By the way, pastors and preachers are another story. We gotta talk about them.
Exactly. Well, Sonia, you could go. Man, it's crazy.
I've been traumatized all week. Worrying about my sons, the sons of my friends, our daughters too. Because there's nothing, we got Sandra Bland's and Breonna Taylor's. And everybody who, you quoted Michelle Alexander, but there's been so many other people in the history of, especially since the civil rights movement, that have repeatedly pointed out how we are always at a standstill. Stuff happens, we're at a standstill. Another shooting, we're at a standstill. Somebody's house, the door done got broken in and they got killed, at a standstill. Black man unarmed, at a standstill. Mentally ill, busting into your house, you mentally ill, at a standstill. Shooting through the garage door, at a standstill.
Yes.
And I've been, since I have one month left in my active law enforcement career. And so I'm still kind of plugged into the police department. And so, of course, I'm going to look to see what my peers are saying. And the people who I work with. And they're all in, oh, this was despicable. Oh, this was terrible. Oh. But I haven't seen, besides my inner circle, I haven't seen one police officer say, if I ever see somebody do that, it's going to be me and them. If I ever see someone do that, I'm going to have to report them. We can't keep standing for this. I'm sort of I'm getting it now. I think I'm seeing what they talking about, these black officers and these black citizens. I haven't seen it yet. Instead, I saw this campaign, put up a picture of you in your uniform to show solidarity with us, because we're going through a hard time now. Now, while I will not curse here, I will say them mofos is crazy.
Exactly.
Who are they talking to? They need to be talking to the black community. Like, hey, we got y'all. We got your back. Maybe we don't understand it fully even. But we want to be there. We want this to stop. We get that there has been some things happening. Police brutality is real against black people. Unarmed black men are losing their lives in situations where white men would not have lost theirs. I want to hear that.
Right.
And I'm going to ask to hear that. Okay. Number two, I don't have a problem with politicians. My ex-husband thinks I'm a politician. I don't know where he got that from. But I was talking to Damon this morning about a certain politician. Because I don't like to, I don't like to clown people too much unless I just have to. But a certain politician was asking for the protesters to, what did he say? He didn't say focus. He said, channel your energy. And, to stop looting and destroying stuff. I guess that was the inference. Don't nobody want to hear that. How you going to tell? I have a girlfriend who said it best. I'm going to read it to y'all. I asked her if I could quote her. Her name is, we call her Missy. When Missy, me and her were talking about it, and when Missy heard him say that, Lord, I can't never find stuff I'm looking for. But when Missy heard him say that, she said, you cannot give people an ethereal answer to a tangible hurt. Mm-hmm. People are hurting. Mm-hmm. We are traumatized. Mm-hmm. We have been abused. And now you want to stand in front of a podium and tell us to channel our damn energy.
Right.
Where are we going to channel it to? This is like the dam that burst. This is like the soda can that you shook up and then you opened it up. We have been channeling, how much more channeling we going to do? I'm not advocating crime. I'm not advocating destroying anything or stealing. But what I am saying is they got a damn good right to be mad. And I would never tell anyone, don't be mad. I want you to channel your energy into something more constructive. No, you feel how you feel. Because I know I'm feeling how I'm feeling right now. I was in tears a few days ago. I couldn't stop crying. I had to call one of my girlfriends because this hurts and I am tired. Thank you.
I just want to go to Lorraine real quick. I want to I've written editorials as what happens, I'm sure with Damon as well. We get invitations to speak on several different news organizations, especially white organizations. I'm going to be on Lisa Wexler's show in Connecticut and on tomorrow or Tuesday. And Bob Marone and all these other places. And I have written a couple of editorials for Black Westchester explaining this, and I'm actually working on a book right now. And the title is White People Can't Comprehend the Deadly Consequences of Being Black. And it was an editorial I wrote, and it was explaining, because the question that always gets asked to me, and probably Damon as well, and you too, Sonia, why are they so angry? Why are they so frustrated? Why can't they get over it? What are they complaining about? And then I had to write another editorial to answer this one. Why are the youth so angry? I mean, if you take a young person that's 25 or younger, let's say, in his lifetime, he has seen all he's seen was adults tell him or her to do it the right way. Let the system handle it. And all these situations happen. Then when they was around 8 or so, we had a black president, and they heard all the older people say, it's going to be different now. We got a black president. Rappers made records about, my president is black. More killings happened. Situation like Kenneth Chamberlain here. Then you had Eric Garner. It was on videotape. That's what they said we wanted, right? They ruled it, Emmy ruled it as a homicide. That's what we said we wanted, right? Slam dunk, right? Oh, let the system do what it's supposed to do. Bow. Nobody goes to jail. Except for the individual who shot the cell phone video. They see plenty of their comrades, their people their age being killed, plus what they see in their own communities. They see us, the generation that's telling them to calm down, not holding it down for them, not bringing them the things that we say is going to happen, at some point they're not listening to us anymore. And they're like, if you're not going to do it, we're going to do it, and they want to be heard. I quote this in my book, and unfortunately, because it is, every Black Negro opinion on MSNBC quoted it this week too. But Martin Luther King said the riot is the language of the unheard. They're unheard. They're going unheard. They're not having it no more. I'm not talking about the what you call, Damon, the protest profiteers. I'm not talking about those. I'm not talking about those provocateurs that come in here to amp things up and to create, things so Trump can declare martial law and have military in the street, and that may be coming. And that's what he wants. I'm talking about the people that are tired, and that's what you're seeing. If what happened to George Floyd represents what's been happening. They've had their knee on our neck forever, and we're tired, and that's what you're seeing right now. There's been a knee on the neck of the Black community, the Black people, forever, since we've been in this country, and they're fed up. Now, I'm not advocating the violence, and I'm watching right now people running out of a sneaker store with boxes of sneakers. I'm not advocating all that. But like Chris Rock said, while I don't condone it, I understand.
Absolutely. No, listen, I understand it. I get it. But I also understand is that we have to attack the situation for what it is, because we've been dealing with these situations from an emotional standpoint.
Absolutely. We
haven't been dealing with this situation from a logical standpoint. And this is like, for it to be at this point, is because we didn't do, as a community of Black people, as Black leadership, as Black elected officials, we have not done,
as Black law enforcement,
and Black law enforcement too, absolutely, we haven't done what we were supposed to do when we are put in these positions of power. So Black law enforcement punks out because they want to get a check, and they want to get good positions, and they want to rise up the ladder and make some money. Black pastors punk out because they don't want to tell the Black elected officials the truth, because they're trying to get grant money and get too close to Caesar, right?
Yes.
Okay, Black politicians punk out because they're not getting their campaign money and all that other money from the Black community. They're getting them from people on the outside. And then when we vote for them, they get in and they don't do what they're supposed to do. It's inexcusable to have a Black city with any Black elected officials, and you have police brutality in the city that you have a Black politician. I don't care where you're at. And then it's really inexcusable for us to vote Democrat all the goddamn time, and they don't do nothing as a Democratic Party, but yet we as Black people have to be good, loyal Negroes and always vote row A all the way. And we get nothing from it, absolutely nothing. What have they done to stop this? Nothing. They haven't done a goddamn thing, because it's still happening. So what are you going to do now, politicians? What are you going to do now, preachers? Are you going to say, we got to pray this away? Absolutely not. The hell with lift every voice and sing. People want to lift every fist and swing now. That's what they want to do now. And you're powerless to change their condition. And that's the outrage on the streets. Powerless.
Real quick, you put out a challenge. Talk about that challenge briefly, and then Lorraine, I didn't get a chance to talk about that. Talk about your challenge.
Well, we sent out. We put out a challenge to elected officials that they need to pass police criminality laws. when an officer that is trained and certified by the state goes in the community and violate policies and procedures and training that leads to injury or death, it should be a crime. No less than a crime. The problem is this: when you could violate policy and procedure, but that doesn't make it a crime in states.
Like
That's
Eric
what
Garner, like Eric Garner's situation.
Eric Gardner, and that's what Marilyn Mosley ran into when she tried to bring those officers up in the Freddie Gray case. So we need actual state laws that define what a crime is when police officers do that. So it won't be no ifs, ands, or buts about it, and they don't have to say, oh my God, we gotta try to get this and we gotta try to get that. Maybe it's murder. No, maybe it's manslaughter. No, maybe it's this. No. The state law says what you did was a crime. It led to a death. Your job fired you because they said you didn't adhere to your policies and procedures and training. Now we're charging you. Simple as
So
that.
I know Lorraine is getting ready to speak, but let me just jump in on
Go
that
ahead.
piece real quick. You're going to have union involvement on that.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
we calling
I want
them
the
out
unions to
too.
do that.
What y'all gonna do? Y'all think that this is okay? You putting up
Exactly.
roadblocks and challenges and everything to keep us from being able to hold police officers accountable. So they need to be dealt with as well.
Oh no, absolutely. And you know how you
Because
do
if
that?
not, the laws are not gonna pass.
No. You know how you do that? You say, you know what? Not only are we going to put it in a law, we're going to put it in the collective bargaining agreement. Now, if you don't like that, then you just don't get a raise. See, we know police officers will sell their firstborn for a 3% raise. You understand what I'm saying? I've been in this thing for 30 years. I know how it go. You go 4, 5, 6 years without a raise, but the politician has to have the testicular fortitude to stand his ground on it and say, look, this is what we want in the contract. If they violate, they're fired. This is what we want in the contract. And if you don't want to do it, then you know what? Then we just won't have a contract. And then stand on it. Have a press conference about it. Let the people know. The reason why this police department doesn't have a contract is because they don't want to be accountable to you. That's how you say it. See, but they don't want to because they just want to be lazy in their position when it comes to police oversight. They don't want to be labeled anti-police. See, but then we need to start labeling these politicians anti-people. That's what we have to do. We have to start changing the narrative on this. Changing the narrative.
Yeah.
You have some cities that have paid out millions and millions and millions. New York City has paid out some smaller states' budgets in lawsuits and judgments for police brutality cases. And yet you still negotiate a raise with the union that defended the racist criminal cop. Miss me with that. And you're gonna try to justify that? So the cop will kill my son? And then I still have to pay his salary out of my tax dollars? Miss me with that. See, we got this all twisted. We got it all wrong. And until the politicians stand up and stand their ground on this, more young Black men and women are going to be killed by police.
Hold on. I think I got it.
We
What
can't
the hell is
hear
that, a Floyd?
Yeah.
you.
Amazing.
Lorraine, go ahead.
All right. Now, I need you, Damon. I need you, AJ. And I need you, Miss Sonia, to hear me. This is coming from another perspective. I'm a mother of a Black son. My son does not identify as Puerto Rican. As a matter of fact, he goes by Black Griff. He would not identify as Puerto Rican. He's an activist. I've seen my son on CNN with a bullhorn. I've opened up the Daily News. There was my son. And I've gotten that phone call in the middle of the night that said, Mom, I'm in jail, but I'm okay. Because he was fighting for his people that he considers the Black people. Today, I saw a whole bunch of young youth, Black youth, that wanted to do a peaceful protest, that wanted their voices to be heard, and it was hijacked by white people. And they led him astray. They led him to the fucking highway. They led him to close to Court County. They led him there. They led him to the 3rd precinct. They did not have solutions for them. They used them as bait. They used them as bait, and it hurts me. It hurts me because I've got 7 mugshots, and every single one of them I'm proud of. I'm proud of. But let me tell you something. I'm not,
Hey, it is what it is.
It is what it is.
I'm proud of every single one of them, and I'll take another mugshot.
Exactly.
But the last one was pretty ugly, so next time I'll make sure I smile. But
Sorry.
Miss Sonia, I need you to help me, help my people in Yonkers. We've got their attention. What do we do now? Help me, help them.
When you say your people, you mean the community or the politicians?
No. Okay. Here's the disclaimer.
Like, wait a minute.
Here's the disclaimer. I'm a politician because I was a city council member, but for 25 years, I worked for Republican administrations, and I oversaw the Office of Human Rights and the Office of Constituent Services. I took care of our people. That was my job. Nobody else was willing to take it on. I did it. But we got youth, we got people. Right now, there's a protest scheduled Tuesday in the city of Yonkers, and the politicians are gonna come on. The mayor's on board. The police commissioner, which I must say is very attentive. He's gonna be there. And I've not been part of the whole big process. There's like 20 not-for-profits, churches, and everything. Everybody's involved. It's supposed to be a big thing. I have been talking to the people behind the scenes that are organizing it. And one of the things I asked them was, do you know that there is a decree with the Justice Department in the city of Yonkers regarding police brutality that went into effect in 2017? Do you know the 3 organizers were not even aware of it? I told them that's the basis of this whole thing. If you're gonna go with demands, you gotta know what you're demanding. So I've been working with them. I've been advising them behind the scenes and everything like that. But now that we got their attention, what's the next step?
Well, first of all, if Yonkers has a consent decree, they need you need to find out what the parameters of the consent decree are.
Oh yes, because I know all of them. All of them.
And did you share that information with them?
Absolutely. I sent it all. I sent every single document I could think of. No, they were very grateful, and I told them, do your homework. Do your homework, because if you're going to stand in that podium and you're going to demand justice, you got to know what you're talking about.
And there's no better way to demand justice than to piggyback on what's already been asked for.
Yeah. For example.
Exactly.
For example, Damon, this is interesting. There was a meeting yesterday, a Zoom meeting, 20 people, or black pastors in Yonkers, not-for-profits, the mayor, the police commissioner. In the consent decree, Miss Sonia, it states that they need 35 hours of training for police brutality. You know what, Damon? The meeting yesterday, they asked the people that did not know that I sent them the information. They did ask. They said, can we have training for our police officers? Mayor said there's not enough money in the budget for that.
Oh, well, okay, so.
Tell
There
him
you go.
Okay,
Now, go ahead.
okay.
Okay, so
I see this stuff. I see it.
okay,
Let us talk.
so here's the great thing about consent decrees. The Department of Justice will give you money. There are resources to help you meet the goals.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay? So to say that you don't have enough money means that either you're not telling the truth, or that you don't know what you're doing, or you don't know how to reach out to find out. They expect you to find those resources. That's an expectation.
Yes. Yes.
And one of the first places I would start is the Department of Justice.
Because you can always go back and revisit it, and you could say, you know what? This is not happening. This is not happening.
We don't have enough money.
Yeah.
If you say we don't have enough money, they're going to be like, okay, you better find it, or we'll give it to you.
Yep. But you know what? There's a real easy solution to this too. Because from what I understand in this meeting, the YWCA said, we do that training. We do that training in Yonkers. Well, you know what? I'm calling out the YWCA in Yonkers. You was formed based out of racism. Okay. Well, then let's work with the community. Provide that training to the police. Or if they don't have the money, provide it. Do your part and let's heal. Do your part. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. And you know I'm gonna be a target, Damien, after this, but I don't give a fuck.
No,
I don't give a fuck. I'm tired.
It's nothing about. I mean, look, it's nothing new about Yonkers. It's nothing new about the history of the police department in Yonkers. You know, I mean, it's nothing new. So, you know, I was when I was Northeast Region President of the National Black Police Association, we was battling. We was battling in Yonkers. And a matter of fact, when Marcus Jones was I think it was Marcus. When he was the president, we had a whole big meeting in Yonkers, and they didn't, and even from the old consent decree. Now, I mean, I'm not even talking the new one, right? I'm talking the old.
So this is another one.
This is the second one. What she's talking about is the second one. From the first consent decree, they were supposed to hire a certain number of black officers, which they never did. So the community got jerked on the first the first consent decree. So now we have a second one here over the same police department, and even from the first one, the second one made them wear name tags. Do you understand me? You had police officers after 2000, after the year 2000, not wearing name tags. So you know, and you had to get a consent decree. They had to go to the people in Yonkers, had to go to the federal government to get the police department to put on goddamn name tags.
Okay, but you know what, David?
Before you do that, can I ask a question?
Yeah.
My question, and I'm sure for some of the people listening to you law enforcement professionals, where do we go? Okay, if there's a consent decree, is there a part that's like a punishment for not following this decree? And if there is, how do we, because if there was a first one they didn't follow and then nothing happened to them and then they got a second one, what's to stop them from not doing that and only get a third one? Is there a punishment aspect to this if you don't follow? And if so, how do we implement that?
Okay, this is what you do.
I want to hear. Go ahead.
I know the answer, AJ. Come on.
That's what
Go
needs to
ahead,
be done.
Lorraine.
Go ahead.
The answer is you go back to the courts, you go back to the judge, and you say, this was in the consent decree and it's not being followed. And the court will go back to Yonkers and say, you need to get this done now. It's that easy. It's that easy. We're fighting. We're doing this. Go back to the court.
So what you're telling me, over the course of 2 decades or whatever, the elected officials have not done this in Yonkers. No,
I can't say that. I cannot say that.
Absolutely, because if the consent decree.
I don't know. I can't.
And no leadership. Nobody in leadership in Yonkers has done this.
Okay, but Mueller is trying. Mueller is trying. We need people like Black.
Stop.
We need people like Black Rochester to tell him, yo, bro, you're not doing it right.
Stop. David, go ahead.
Yeah.
If you're the commissioner, you make the policy. I don't give a fuck about a try. Right?
Okay.
You are the man to make the policy. Write that motherfucker down. Give a 5-day motherfucking read. This is how we run in our police department from now on. That trying bullshit. See, I don't want to hear we're trying.
Hold them accountable. I'm not saying. I'm saying hold them accountable.
Listen to what I'm saying. Listen to what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Fuck the try shit.
Okay.
See, we're listening to leaders that are put in position, right, to write the legislation and put it forth, and they're telling us they're trying. What kind?
Okay, so then it falls on the mayor too. So then it falls on the mayor too. I'm not trying to sugarcoat anything. I'm with you. Then it falls on the mayor too.
It's absolutely right. Make it happen.
Okay. But here's the thing. If it's the Department of Justice's job to monitor the consent decree.
That's where I'm getting to. That's where I was going.
Okay, but
so wait. Let her finish. Let her finish.
So they should periodically send teams of people to make sure you're meeting all your parameters. And if you are not, there should be consequences. Now, that's also political. It depends. Like, for instance, right now, do you really think that there's a lot of follow-up on consent decrees?
No.
With our current national administration.
Not happening here.
Absolutely not.
It's not happening here.
Okay.
No.
Well, actually, to follow up on that, homeboy that was the first attorney general, remember, he dismissed all the dissent decrees.
Yeah.
Jeff Sessions, yeah.
So if you're expecting some kind of fallout from people not meeting the parameters of their consent decrees, it's probably not going to happen right now. It's going to depend on who's in the White House.
Exactly.
Okay, so what do we?
Oh, and then there's one more thing, and I'm gonna have to go because I got another call at 7.
Right.
But federal money, police departments get money.
Exactly.
And that can be one of the if you violate the parameters, you might not get your money.
Exactly.
But there's other thing. I wish I could have time to talk about it. Lorraine, it was nice meeting you. AJ,
I love you.
Damon.
Thank you. Let's do this
y'all
again.
on the next call.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Later.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Yeah, because that's what I wanted to know. Like, what can the average person? There's people listening to this, and there's people not in law enforcement like me. Like, I hear you got these consent decrees, and they were in place before Trump, and nothing was happening before Trump. So I got the Trump administration is not going to do it, but what was happening before Trump that these things weren't.
People dropped the ball. I played a role in getting that consent decree, myself and Karen Edmondson.
Okay.
She worked hard to make sure she got all those complaints and
Not zero.
Yeah. Right. But once Karen Edmondson left the NAACP dropped the ball. I don't care.
They're soft. They're soft now.
They dropped the ball because you have to follow up on the consent decree and you yourself, if you're going to expect the government, right, because they say, oh, everything's okay, and like you said, whoever's politically connected, whoever's this, whoever's that, we're gonna let this slide, and then Trump gets in, and then it's a wrap, right? Because nobody cares. But at the end of the day, right, the people right now, if any elected official, and this is just not Yonkers, I'm talking any elected official, if you really mean what you say, then legislate. right? If you're not putting forth legislation for police oversight and accountability of their actions, right, within the department policy and within the city law, and then within state law that it's a crime, then you ain't saying nothing. Then you're just appealing to my emotions. I don't need nobody else to appeal to my emotion. I got a wife. That's the only person I need to appeal to my goddamn emotions, right? I don't need no politician to do that. So we as a people have to change the narrative and start talking law. What is the goddamn law to make sure that these officers will be fired and will go to jail? Laws. That's it. Anything else, any other conversation is futile, right? When you talk to a politician, what are you going to do with the laws? Are you going to propose laws? Are you going to pass laws? City council people, what type of laws are you going to do to hold your police accountable? That's it. That's it. Right? There's not even a civilian complaint review board in none of the goddamn cities. So what are you marching? What are you marching with these kids for? And these kids can't even file a complaint and feel safe. See, this is the hypocrisy in politics that has come to a head that has to stop. But we have to stop too as a people falling for the okie doke every time. Because we in our feelings. We in our feelings.
Okay, so Damon.
Real quick, let me get in because we have the other lady supposed to come in at 7. And we got like 7 minutes.
I gotta get off at 7.
Right, and I wanna at least address and acknowledge some of the people. There's been a lot of people tuned in. My alarm on my other phone is going off.
Okay, while you looking for
Here
that,
you go.
Okay.
So Nancy, thank you, Nancy Cater Maldonado, for tuning in. Alex Harrison said Yonkers police beat up some girl the other day. We've been talking about that. Lisa Best said blessings. Blessings everybody from Lisa Best. Karen Judge Best tuned in. Terry Watson said because of the delay from the DA, the perception of rioting is going to equal results. We talked about that. Had they had the fortitude to do what the police department did within 24 hours and charge those officers, a lot of what is happening in Minnesota and then around the country would not have happened. They could have prevented this, and they did not. And then we had no leadership from the national level on down. Shout out to Chief Khalil tuned in, Nas Duncan tuned in, Sharman Leon Evans.
Tell the chief to stop reporting on Yonkers if he ain't know what he's talking about.
Okay, that's another conversation. Not right now. Shout out to Sharman Leon Evans, Cleveland police officer. She's going to be on part 3 of how to police the Black community, which is this coming Friday. She said, "Hey guys, good to see you again." We just had Sonia Pruitt-Wiggins, the National Black Police Association president, that was just talking. Michelle Shells Lopez was tuned in. Michelle Reed, thank you. Hey, from the ATL, what's going on? Alex Harris said a lot of times things don't change because of social natural selection. Lorraine Moneypenny is tuned in. Terry Watson agreed with a couple of things you said. Lisa Best said they changed the narrative from arrest to charge all the officers to 45 tweeting when the looting starts, the shooting starts. They are changing the narrative, changing the storyline and setting us up for slaughter. Alex Harrison said a lot of minority ethnicities want either closer alliance with the dominant at the expense of Blacks, and the message gets spread to the youth for them is not as bad when the person is Black. Karen Cole's tuned in. Karen Cole said, "Hi, AJ, I agree with your viewpoint. There has been a foot on the neck of Black people for centuries." I stand by that. Terry Watson said, "I'm meeting with our officials on Thursday to start challenging to start accepting that challenge, Damon.
Yep, thank you.
Allison Harrison said, Blacks are the only ones held accountable for their actions. Karen Cole said, we need a universal definition of what constitutes excessive force. Somewhat of what Damon was talking about, but we need legislation because again, we have Michelle, hold on. I see that you're in the waiting area. Michelle, hold on. Again, we need legislation because in the New York, in NYPD's policy, after, what was it, Amadou Diallo, one of those situations in the 90s, they made it a policy that they barred the chokehold, and even though what's his name Eric Garner, it was against police policy, but was not against the law.
But that's not excessive force. What we have, at least in New York State, is what they call the continuum force. You're supposed to use as a law enforcement officer, whatever force is against you, you're supposed to use the same amount of force, and then it rises. It goes from physical, right, to deadly force. So if you're using deadly force against physical force, then that's excessive force. You understand what I'm saying? But now, if you look at the case, if you look at the recent case, right, he was using deadly force against no force because he was cuffed and on the ground, right? He was cuffed and on the ground. So there is a training aspect called the continuum of force policy. So once the physical force stops, you don't jump to deadly force, right? Because that's not part of the continuum of force. So we have to understand. I gotta go.
Okay. So I'm gonna read the rest of the comments. I'm also going to bring